Hello and welcome to this week's Ruby Shoes podcast, bringing you the very best of local entertainment across East Anglia each and every week. Now, this week we've been chatting to EastEnders star Jazzy Phoenix, who returns to the Ipswich Regent Theatre early next month after her fantastic performance there last December as the princess in Sleeping Beauty. We find out what she's been up to since and why she's coming back. Plus, we've got a review of the Up Beat Beatles, and we managed to get a theatre news scoop from one of the directors of a Suffolk seaside theatre. Fresh from her role as Nadine on BBC's EastEnders, Jazzy Phoenix is set to dazzle audiences across the UK as she joins the Come What May tour. With her roots in musical theatre, including powerful performances in Phantom of the Opera, Mamma Mia, and The Importance of Being Earnest, Jazzy is ready to showcase her incredible talents in this spectacular production, which is coming to the Ipswich Regent. So well done. You're coming back to the Ipswich Regent.
I'm coming back.
So excited.
I know. I'm really excited to come back, actually.
Because we last saw you as the beautiful princess in Sleeping Beauty last December at the Ipswich Regent, and we were lucky enough to chat to you a couple of times, and you really, certainly it felt from the interview that you were really enjoying being in Ipswich and you're really enjoying the Ipswich audiences.
I loved it. They were so lively and fun, really lively and fun.
So how exciting is it to be coming back to Ipswich, less than a year later?
I know, I can't wait. I feel very lucky. I'm actually really excited to see some more of the UK.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen Ipswich. I've been there before, but so much I haven't seen. I've kind of been a bit of a hermit in London since I've been here. So I just can't wait. I can't wait to go on tour and see it all. I'm back to the Regent. It feels like a little home for me. I felt like I was there for so long.
Yeah, so, and I think the audience is really warm to you as well. So they'll be very excited to know you're coming back on the 6th of October, which is a Saturday at the Ipswich Regent. Oh. Before I ask you about Come What May and the tour, what have you been up to since Panto?
Oh gosh, what have I done since Panto? You're going to make me rack my brains now for I like live in such chaos. I have no idea. I went home for a little bit. I went back to New Zealand for a month, which was so nice to just be in. It's such a good time to go because it's freezing here and everyone's kind of.
And is it nice in New Zealand? Or is the weather kind of different?
Yeah. So we're the opposite seasons. So you go back to the middle of summer when it's the middle of winter here. So it's kind of perfect. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm getting cold.
Don't worry, we don't mind sound effects. That's all good.
So that was fantastic to go sit in the sun for a month. And then I came back and then I made another return as Nadine for a little while.
You did?
Which was great fun. Very scandalous for anyone that saw.
And that must be a lot of fun. It's quite hard work, isn't it? It's very fast paced and, you're sort of learning and then you're filming, then you're learning filming. So it's quite different, but I imagine it's quite fun to go back to something that, a role that you know really well.
So much fun. And you know what? That's how I like, it makes me sound like a little bit of a maniac, but that is how I like to operate, really fast. And that's why soap works so well for me. I love it because it's just all bang, bang, bang. You don't really have any time to think. You go and you churn it out and it's next thing you know, it's on the telly. You haven't really had time to think about it. And then you're doing the next thing. So
as far as EastEnders is concerned, how do they leave that with you? Because it must be quite hard to sort of plan things around that all the time because you never quite know when you're going to get the call to say, we need you again.
Yeah. To be honest, I have a wonderful team of people that coordinate things for me. So I don't have to worry too much. My Google Calendar would be enough to make anybody have a panic attack. So I'm very lucky with it. We kind of quite strategically line things up. We know as in advance as we can about things, but sometimes it is a matter of you haven't had anything come through and then suddenly you've got 4 jobs at once. And you're like, okay, brilliant. So you've just got to make it work sometimes and then you kind of learn to enjoy the downtimes when they come instead of panic about them, because it used to be kind of like oh God, I've got nothing, and that would really stress me out. Whereas now when I have nothing, I kind of try and take that time to be for a for a bit.
Just be in the moment for a bit.
Before the chaos ensues again, inevitably, yeah.
Definitely. So talk to me about Come What May. When did the rehearsals start for you? And as you say, you're going to get to tour across the UK, which is going to be lovely for you.
Yes, yeah. So I start rehearsal on Sunday, which again is going to be go, 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 go. We start rehearsals, and then I think it's 2.5 weeks later, maybe we're on tour. So that's another. It's no joke. I can't wait to get started. I love getting stuck into a new project, and Come What May is going to be the most fabulous show. It's all the hits from all the amazing movie musicals, Moulin Rouge mostly. So I am doing female lead vocals. Come What May is more of a it's a musical performance of all the biggest musical songs. So it's not necessarily a storyline as much as it is show performance.
Yeah, it's celebrating all of those fantastic pieces.
It'll be really fun. It'll be a lot of kind of get up and sing along and dance along, and it'll be fantastic.
Fantastic. Oh, it'll be wonderful to see you back in Ipswich, Jazzy. We're very much looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Difficult for you to know yet because you haven't started rehearsals, but there's some brilliant songs in there. You've got things like obviously Come What May, but your song Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. Any particular song when you saw the score that you thought, oh, I'm really looking forward to singing that?
Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. That was the one. I was like, oh, I can't wait to do that. That's one of my favorite songs. I'm a big Marilyn fan as well, so I'm honored to get to sing that.
Well, it's going to be amazing. We're looking forward to seeing you. As I say, it's Ipswich Regent Theatre, Saturday the 6th of October. We'll be in the crowd cheering you on. And thanks for talking to us today, Jazzy.
Thank you. It's so lovely to see you again. Thank you so much.
The Up Beat Beatles were at Suffolk Seaside last week, performing at the Spa Pavilion Theatre in Felixstowe. Here's what we thought of them.
1, 2, 3.
So Up Beat Beatles, what's your review, Steve?
Well, I've seen lots of Beatles tribute bands in the past, and I've got to say, I think that was the best I've seen.
Do you know, I was exactly going to say the same thing. I mean, I love Beatles music anyway, and I love the fact that, we can still enjoy it. But tonight, they had that extra something, didn't they? They got the crowd going.
I was going to say, it was audience participation, their energy was fantastic, the numbers ran one into the other, it was hit after hit after hit. The stage play, the costumes, they even had all the proper gear, just like they would have done in the 60s and whatnot.
And I'm sure I counted about 9 guitars on stage.
They were swapping between the guitars that they actually used.
Proper musicianship. Yeah. And they were really personable as well. They were really good with the crowd. And all 4 of them had brilliant vocals. They were just really good at getting the crowd going.
The other thing, which you have to commend the Spa for,
yes,
is the fact that actually they had a brilliant sound. Wasn't it a nice balanced sound? You weren't blown away.
Really good.
But you could sing along, but at the same time it was loud enough.
You could hear everything, couldn't you?
It was powerful,
you could hear the music, you could hear the songs. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Really, really good night. Up Beat Beatles. Absolutely loved that. I must admit, when they first came out on stage, they got younger because they were trying to be in costume and they'd gone as far as having all these brilliant costumes, but they also had these wigs. And when they first came out, I thought, what on earth are those wigs? Not sure I agreed with them, but as they got over through the night, they changed their wigs and they literally got younger on stage. It was really funny.
They did, but you have to remember you weren't actually born.
No, I know.
Which I was. And the
Beatles,
they
look like the Beatles?
They did. Actually,
okay.
They looked like we used to in those days, yes.
All right then, okay, I'll forgive the wigs then, but they were fantastic and the audience went crazy for them and we're all calling for more for next year. So let's hope they get to come back. Now, I also managed to get a scoop on the night with the Spa Theatre director. He told me about a brand new show. If you love the Beatles, you're going to want to be part of this next year. The Spa Pavilion in Felixstowe are planning a Beatles weekend next year. Take a listen.
Absolutely.
Now, you were just telling me as we were walking out to find somewhere slightly quieter to talk, that you've got something even bigger happening next year for the Beatles. So tell us.
I'm very excited about this. It's something I wanted to do a long time ago. It is a Beatles weekend, and it will be over the third weekend.
Here at the Spa Pavilion
here at the Spa in Felixstowe. It will be over the third weekend of June next year. And to kick it all off on the Friday night, I booked a band called the Corgis, who were very big in the 80s.
Yes, yeah.
And apparently, I didn't know this until a Beatle expert said to me, but back in the day, they were greatly influenced by the Beatles. The Corgis were.
Yeah.
So they're going to kick it all off on the Friday night. They're looking so forward to coming here. They really are excited about that.
Wonderful.
And then on the Saturday, I've got a guy called Nigel Pearce, who is an absolute Beatle nut. He knows everything.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything.
Yeah.
And he's going to be doing a talk and explaining a lot about Apple Records and what went on in Savile Row, where their headquarters was. So he's doing
history,
In the evening, the Quarrymen, who is where it all started for John Lennon and Paul McCartney. They actually met when they performed with the Quarrymen back in the 1950s. And believe it or not, most of the Quarrymen are still alive. They're in their 80s and they still perform.
And they're coming here.
They're coming here, so I booked them.
And that's the Saturday night.
That's the Saturday night.
Wow.
On the Sunday morning, I've got a guy called, he's a radio guy mainly, but he did interview John Lennon and Paul McCartney back in the day. And his name is Nicky Horn. He's quite well known he was on Capital Radio and I think BBC Radio 1, I think, at the time. So he's going to be doing a talk because he's found some of his lost tapes with John Lennon and Paul McCartney.
Wow,
so he's going to talk on the Sunday morning.
Yeah.
And then I want to round it all off on the Sunday evening with another Beatle tribute, like the one we've got tonight. So it's going to be exciting. And what I'm going to try and do, people can come and just, plug into the shows they want to see, or they can buy a grand pass. They can do a grand pass.
Immerse themselves in Beatles all weekend. Great, that
it'd be fantastic. And I think the whole thing might cost people about 150 quid. But the guy the Nigel Pearce guy, he tells me that there could even be people come over from America for this.
Wow.
Because apparently, there's apparently more Beatle fans in America than there are here. Apparently,
Amazing.
So, and I've always been.
In the first half of the Up Beat Beatles, we saw some footage of the Shea Stadium, I think it was. And I mean, it was, I don't know how many thousands of people there, but it was just crazy.
It was mental. I think one of the biggest.
Beatle mania, wasn't it? So it'd be nice if we could have, just a few of those come over. That would be amazing.
So looking forward to that. But apart from next year, I mean, there's still plenty of stuff coming up. There's still shows galore. I mean, he fills the O2, so I don't suppose he really wants to come to Felixstowe.
Well,
although he's a Suffolk lad.
He is a Suffolk lad, and a little bit nearer as well. Certainly in December, you've got the Jive Aces. I've seen them recently. They're good fun.
They've been here before, and they're very good.
A couple of fantastic Christmas shows. It's not too early to talk about Christmas.
No, that's right.
Just before that, another one, the Genesis and Phil Collins experience. Seriously,
that's very
Collins.
good.
Again, a nice new show for the Spa. Which will be really, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of these myself.
So, and all this is down to you because you book all these guys, don't you?
I book sort of 95%, I suppose. Sometimes Gary comes up with some ideas and whatever, but I suppose I do most of it,
Well, well done you. Keep doing what you're doing. Thoroughly enjoying tonight. I'm looking forward to the second half.
Good.
And thanks for your time today for the Ruby Shoes podcast.
My pleasure.
And I was told literally just as I went out, so we've got a real scoop tonight, first about the Beatles weekend, but I was told just as I went out by Ray that they're going to get back the original Beatles drummer here for that weekend. Pete Best is coming back next June here at the Felixstowe Spa. You heard it here first, Ruby Shoes podcast. Next week on the Ruby Shoes podcast, we'll be chatting to Olivia Award nominee Gerard Logan about his new project coming to Suffolk, simply called Hauntings. In the meantime, here's some more great shows you just might want to check out.
What's on across Suffolk with Stephanie McIntyre. Sponsored by Ruby Shoes Podcast, your weekly entertainment news podcast. Available from your smart speaker, Apple, Spotify, or you just follow Ruby Shoes Podcast on Facebook and click on the weekly podcast link to listen.
There's a host of great shows on offer across Suffolk's magnificent theatres, and here's just a selection to tempt you. Tuesday the 24th through to Saturday the 28th of September at the New Wolsey Theatre, Alan Ayckbourn's Table Manners. Norman tells his career-obsessed wife Ruth that he's going away on business, when in reality he's secretly planning an illicit weekend with his sister-in-law Annie. Their plans are ruined, however, by the arrival of Annie's brother Reg and his prudish wife Sarah. Sarah finds out about the dirty weekend and calls Ruth to come and put a stop to her husband's philandering, not helped by the arrival of Annie's kind but slow-witted suitor Tom. For tickets for this fantastic farce, go to wolseytheatre.co.uk. Thursday the 26th, prepare for Whitney, Queen of the Night at the Ipswich Regent Theatre. Direct from the West End, the London Palladium and the iconic Royal Albert Hall, Whitney, Queen of the Night is a celebration of the music and life of one of the greatest singers of all time. Experience the ultimate tribute to the remarkable musical repertoire of Whitney Houston in an electrifying production that honours her timeless songs with sensational vocalists and a full live band. Prepare to be blown away by an extraordinary journey through 3 decades of all-time hits, such as I Wanna Dance With Somebody, One Moment in Time, I'm Every Woman, I Will Always Love You, My Love Is Your Love, So Emotional, Run To You, Saving All My Love, How Will I Know, $1 Million Bill, The Greatest Love of All, and just so many more. For your ticket, go to ipswichtheatres.co.uk. Friday the 27th from 8 p.m. at the Spa Pavilion Theatre in Felixstowe, Guitar Heroes. Prepare to be blown away by the most amazing guitar riffs over the last 50 years. Featuring an anthology of the most iconic guitar hits from Jimmy Page, Hank Marvin, Chuck Berry, Jimi Hendrix, Brian May, Eric Clapton, of course, Mark Knopfler, David Gilmour, Tony Iommi, and Van Halen and Slash, and so many more. This live guitar fest is renowned for its versatile world-class musicianship, recreating the unique sounds of each guitar legend with an incredible accuracy, utilising no less than 30 different authentic guitars. For your ticket, go to spapavilion.uk. And Sunday the 29th of September at the Apex Theatre across in Bury St Edmunds from 5 p.m, it's your chance to see Joe Pettit and the Len Phillips Swing Orchestra, plus West End stars Stephen Triffitt and Nicola Emanuel. Celebrating the 2 biggest names in jazz and popular music for a generation, faithful renditions of Nelson Riddle's stunning arrangements from stars of the West End's Rat Pack, live from Las Vegas, plus thrilling new instrumental versions of Britain's most popular 17-piece big band. Setting the scene are the instrumental tracks from the bandleaders who worked with Sinatra and Fitzgerald throughout their careers. Count Basie, Duke Ellington, Harry James, Tommy Dorsey, Quincy Jones, Chick Webb, Billy May and Buddy Rich. For your ticket, go to theapex.co.uk. Don't forget, you can always get in touch with us via our Facebook page at Ruby Shoes Podcast. We'd love to hear about your forthcoming plays, your comedy nights, and any events you'd like us to tell everybody else about. You can listen again to any of the Ruby Shoes podcasts via Apple or Spotify, or just simply clicking on the podcast links on our Facebook page. Follow us there too for all the latest entertainment news. I'm Steph McIntyre, thanks for listening, and we'll chat more about live theatre and all kinds of entertainment next week. In the meantime, check out those socials at Ruby Shoes Podcast. We're on Twitter or X, Facebook, Instagram, and we'd love you to follow us there too. You have a great week.